Welcome back to another episode. Thanks for tuning back in. The last time I had the doctor on, good old Sara, we had a question and answer that went over quite well. We had a lot of people that really liked it. So I figured we would do it again because you are a huge part of my fishing career. And we got a lot of viewer questions. So today I'm going to ask some of those viewer questions to Sara. And she's got questions for me because that was a suggestion by a lot of the viewers as well. What questions you had of me. So today we've got dinner in the oven. We've got like 15 minutes. So we're going to have some rapid fire questions back and forth. It's brought to you by Central Waters, Life of Illusion, and Siren Shrubs. What flavor is that?
Basil.
Yeah, basil. You can't go wrong with the basil.
The basil is so
Shout
good.
out to both those local companies. Two fantastic products, and maybe you can see the cat. I don't know. We've got the local neighbor cat at our feet. She's just wandering around. Anyways, let's get this rolling. Did you enjoy the last time we did it?
I did.
Did
I
you
like
really?
talking. I mean, I like talking to you.
Okay.
I like our conversations. I feel like we can be straight with each other.
Okay.
Did you like it?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was a video like this is way easier than like talking about fishing.
Oh, so I'm just easy.
I didn't say that. I did not say that at all. All right, do you want to start with the question or do you want me to start with the question? How many do you got?
I got a
Oh
lot.
my God, you got pages? We have 15 minutes.
Okay. Let's start with the easy one. Most memorable fish catch.
Like single fish catch.
Yeah.
Man, the one that pops up in my head first is I want to say 2015. It was the first tournament of the year at the Kissimmee chain, and I had 4 fish I had a good first day. I had 4 fish in the live well, and with 7 minutes to go, I could see the takeoff ramp. 7 minutes to go, I flipped up a 7.5 pounder, and that moved me up into 20th. I finished so I made the top 20 cut. That was also the tournament where both Luke Clausen, Randy Blockett, so the 3 of us, all 3 Bridgeford pros made the cut, and Chad Randalls, who is the co-angler for Bridgeford, won that event. So it was a really cool event
I
because
remember that.
like Al Bridgeford was there as well. So it was a very cool event to have all of us in the top 20.
Good answer.
Okay. Am I going now?
I don't know. You go now? I go now?
I want to know what your Bigfoot thoughts are. And these are viewer
my God.
questions. The viewers want to know what you think about my Bigfoot sighting.
Oh gosh, Bigfoot. It's a little more believable because of who you were with. Not that I don't believe you, but you and Jason together, like Jason.
He was my team partner.
Yeah, and he was like he's one of our good friends from undergrad. So we'd known him for years and years, and he's very trustworthy, very straight-laced.
I'm not?
No, but I'm saying like having the 2 of you there. If you had come home and been like, Sarah, dude, I saw Bigfoot, I've been like, yeah. But having the 2 of you together corroborate the same story. But I don't know. I mean, I've seen that woods up there. We take that shortcut just about every time we go to Hayward, and he turns the corner and he's like, this is where I saw Bigfoot. So then we have to look for Bigfoot, even though it's normally
we don't really look.
We kind of scope the woods, but it's so thick that it's like there's no way you'd ever be able to see 3 feet into that.
And honestly, what you just said is how I feel though. Had I been by myself, I think I just would have been like, nah, I saw something. Like I saw a bear. But because we both saw it, it's all right. Anyways, that was the question.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
I don't know that if I ever asked you, do you think I'm nuts for thinking I saw Bigfoot?
No, I don't think you're nuts. I mean, do I think that Bigfoot exists? It's just the strangest.
Right now, both Central Waters and Siren Shrubs are like, why do they have us on their show? Why they're embarrassed to be on the episode.
Oh.
All right, give me another question.
Okay. You said this one earlier, and so I wrote it down. If you could spend the day with any angler, who would it be?
Like just to BS with?
Sure.
Or to fish with?
Like the very first time you ever met Luke Lawson, you guys sat in a bar for like 7 hours.
We shouldn't tell that story.
I'm not telling the story.
Okay.
I just said you sat at a bar. I didn't say you drank anything.
Yeah, no,
But you had stories after that.
Yeah.
So if you could be with any angler for a day to either learn from or to hear stories from, who would that be?
You know, that's a good question, because at this point in my career, I feel like I know most of the guys. Like, I think there's some guys out there that like growing up I really admired. Somebody like Denny Brower, who's like a flipping magician. I love being a shallow water guy, and I've never met him. I've never crossed paths with him. At this point, he's pretty much out of the sport. So somebody like that, it would definitely be somebody more, I don't want to call him old school, but somebody that I feel like paved the way a lot more for like true professional tournament fishing. You know, because I know almost everybody at this point, or I've talked to pretty much everybody at some point, but like a lot of the guys who are, you know, the older generation, or the guys that really started tournament fishing are the guys that more than anything, I love to hear the stories. Mm-hmm. Like about how the sport kind of developed, and to see, it's nice to be able to compare like the old school stories with I told you there was a stray cat on the door.
She's super sweet, little Candy.
She's been in videos chasing the chickens before.
Yes.
In the background.
She loves us.
Anyway, so I think it would be cool to be able to. I like hearing the old stories and comparing them to like how the sport is now.
She's got one foot on your chair. Okay.
Okay, next question for you. Oh, this was a good one. So if you haven't watched my channel before, if you don't watch regularly, what you probably haven't seen are some of the videos that are some of my favorites, but they get kind of odd remarks. So the viewer question specifically is, what did you think specifically about having a bunch of pork skin in the refrigerator when I made my own pork frogs?
Oh God,
There's a second part to it regarding the toenail crankbait.
I want nothing to do with the toenail crankbait. That was disgusting. The whole process was disgusting.
It wasn't, but it works. It works so good.
I might go throw up right now. It was so gross.
Well, how do you feel about having a bunch of pig fat in the fridge?
I mean, that was better.
Well, we have a half a flat of crawlers in the fridge.
I'm not real
right
happy
now.
about that either.
Remember?
Especially when they get out and I find them and oh God, I have to call Hank in. I'm like, Hank, there's a worm in the refrigerator.
Yeah,
that's
only happened once or twice.
Yeah.
But the one time was bad. There were worms all like
there
crawlers.
Were not. I was not around.
You didn't see that one. There was one time it happened to me. There was one time I was at a tournament and you told me, look at her. You told me that there were crawlers on. So the pig fat didn't bother you?
No, that didn't bother me.
Can I try that one again?
Sure.
Because that worked pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, I don't care. Well, it's a Bridgeford pig
It
fat,
was, yeah.
too.
Bridgeford sends us a Christmas ham, and that's where I took that from.
Yeah.
So it was smoked pig fat.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was prime.
Yeah.
Delicatessen.
All right.
Pig frog.
Next
fat.
question.
Let's see here. You've often mentioned that your career turned a corner when you started relaxing and drinking a beer at some of the evenings of practice. Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't drink. I don't really drink much beer when I'm. Well, first off, it makes it sound like I drink a ton of beer. I probably drink more beer this year than I've drank in the last couple of years.
Okay.
But like at tournaments, so let's back up on that. My first 3 years on tour, I made it a point to be like, I'm going to try to concentrate as hard as I can. I'm not going to drink a beer.
Very
I'm not going to.
serious.
Yeah, I took it as serious as possible. And what I feel like happened is I was not comfortable. Like, and I'm not talking about drinking a beer. but it was not like I was not relaxed. Meaning, I fish better when I go out and it's just like a fun day of fishing. If I go out and I'm like, I got to do this, this, and this during the tournament day, it never works out. So if I'm just at a tournament, relaxed, fishing as if I was on vacation, I do so much better. I don't know if that makes sense. So it's not, I mean, like the first year it was like, I'm not going out to eat. We're not going, like it was straight fishing. And that in those 3 years, whether they were learning curves or not, they were my worst 3 years on tour. I've had 11 pretty good ones since then now.
Yeah.
And now I'm not afraid to have a beer at the end of a long, hard practice day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You're up.
Okay.
This kind of goes with that.
All right.
The viewer wanted to know if you've ever questioned my career, and if so, when was that?
No.
Because I know in the first video, I told the story about how I told you I was going to quit halfway through my 3rd year, and you talked me into staying. So the question is...
And then you started drinking beer.
No. Central Waters, if you're listening, apparently I'd be a fantastic partner for you. So have you ever questioned it? Did you think I should have given it up?
No.
Never once?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there have been hard years where we haven't, you haven't done as well. And it's been like, oh, that was frustrating. But the few times that I get to go watch you, like I think it was Kentucky Lake, where you were fishing like out in front of our rental house, and I got to like watch you. Like it was in the distance. I couldn't like, it wasn't like we could talk to one another. But
yeah, there was a buoy in front of the rental house that was marking a shoal, and or a high spot. Yeah.
So I think I just like sat on our sloping yard and watched you for a while, and I just remember thinking, God, he's good at this. Like it was just like relaxing to watch you cast and retrieve, because it was so smooth and so good. So I don't know, I'm a firm believer that we're all put on this earth to do a primary purpose, and if we can find that primary purpose in life,
I'm here to catch bass.
Well, no, but if it's what lights us up on the inside, it's what inspires us. So if it's the same thing I said last time, if it's inspiring for you to go fish all day and you can make a living at it, well, you can make a living at whatever you're inspired at. But I
agree.
I was like, gosh, he was put here on this planet to fish. So
I mean, I will not disagree that fishing is my happy place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, question then.
Oh boy.
If you could go fun fishing for a day in the cold rain or a Wednesday nighter with both boys, which one would you choose?
Man, I mean, I absolutely love the Wednesday nighters. But they are a handful with 2 boys. Like, I swear I fish for 25 minutes. It's a 3.5 hour long tournament. Oh. And between, like, Hank is getting very, very good. For his age, he is insanely good.
He is, but he's overconfident, and then he just does dumb stuff.
That's the thing. Yeah, he thinks he can cast everywhere.
Yeah. And through a knot. And
yeah, I mean, so it's constant knots, it's constant trees. Duke is he could be anywhere from wanting to fish to like wants buckets full of water so the squirt guns work, so like, you know, he controls the snack bag. Like there's a lot going on there, and it's a blast.
So cold rainy day,
I would rather fish with the boys, but
okay.
I mean, it's one of those things that like if it's a cold rainy day, but if the fish are biting, I mean, that's not bad either. I don't mind fishing in the rain, although I don't really. I try to use fishing in cold weather as a advantage. Whether it is or not, I like to think the fact that I'm used to it in Wisconsin gives me an advantage over my competitors.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really bother me that much.
Okay.
What bothers me more is if I'm, like when it's 40 degrees out and it's raining and it's like 30-mile-an-hour wind, that's what gets me. Ice fishing. I don't like ice fishing.
I don't either.
Okay. The last viewer question I have for you. This is a touchy subject.
Oh, I know what it is.
What is your take on forward-facing sonar?
Do I have to be fishing politically correct, or do I have to?
No, I'm not politically correct on this. Okay. I give my honest answer.
I think it's like a video game, and I don't like it.
So should it be banned?
I feel like it is not. It's not cheating, but I am not a fan of it in terms of what it's done for the sport, because it's not. The skill level of an angler comes from knowing how to read the water conditions, read the setting, and I think that's just totally taken out of the game when you can just look at a screen and be like, there's a fish. So I think the sport of it is degraded by using it.
Man, I feel like you use some words there that we don't. I've heard so many discussions regarding forward-facing sonar, and you used a few words there that I don't feel like I've heard anyone talk about, like that we're degrading the sport. Mm-hmm. And I tend to agree with you in that it's kind of if you look at any sport, we've got rules as to what you can do. Like we were just at the what is it? U.S. Golf Association Senior Championship.
Open in
was it Century World? We went to day 4, the final day today. And I mean, there's such strict criteria regarding like the balls and the clubs, and everything's got to be the same. And that doesn't mean that anglers can't use forward-facing sonar. We all have the same equipment, but you get to a point where it's like the equipment gets so good that you're limited, that they prevent you from using it. And I do feel like that is kind of where we're at with fishing. My stance on this has always been, I'm not going to choose not to use it if it's giving an advantage to my competition, because that doesn't do me or you guys any good. But if I had a stance on this, I would say we need to really limit the sport as a whole. I mean, I don't know if a lot of viewers know this, but there's a lot of limitations on equipment that have been out there. You know, we're only allowed a 250 horsepower engine, right? Like on our boats. You have to have a certain size boat. You can't have a jet boat. Like there's a lot of requirements regarding the boats. Up until a couple of years ago, we couldn't have a fishing pole over 8 foot long.
Really?
Yeah, like there's a lot of rules that are in. I mean, you start looking at baits. We can't use Alabama rigs. Yeah. There's certain things that are like grandfathered in. And it's like we have limitations on some things, but the electronics we don't. And I realize there's a big political answer there regarding money in the sport. Right. And I, as I've said recently, I mean, we're seeing tons and tons of companies now coming out with forward-facing sonar baits. So the more companies that are supporting the industry based on forward-facing makes it only that much harder to get rid of. But yeah. Okay, that was my last question for you. Give me one more, and then I think dinner's probably almost done.
How about speed round?
Okay. I like this. Give me a speed round.
He just told me we were doing this like an hour ago.
I know, that's what you get 2 pages of questions.
I've been thinking for years. Favorite lake you've ever fished?
Anywhere?
Favorite lake you've ever fished?
I think
Speed round.
Lake Okeechobee is one of my absolute favorites.
Top destination you've yet to fish? This isn't very speedy.
No, it's not. I'm for the California Delta popped up in my head.
Okay. Late fall northern Wisconsin smallies or May Sturgeon Bay smallies?
Late fall northern Wisconsin smallies.
Favorite angler from the ages of 10 to 15? Babe Winkleman?
No. Not at all. I was a huge in-fisherman fan. Al Lindner was a huge guy. As a northern guy, he was a big one. If you're talking tournaments, Kevin Van Dam was a huge guy growing up. Denny Brower was a huge guy growing up.
Favorite YouTube or podcast or live broadcast in fishing?
I mean, there's a lot of questions there that are separate. I love Bass Talk Live. BTL with Matt, but even like I've told the story about how I almost got fired from working at the Chicago Board of Trade because of that. So I think that is a fantastic podcast. I am so happy to be involved. Well, be involved meaning I'm on it somewhat regularly now. Yeah. So I mean, I would say if there's one thing out there that I will always listen to, it's generally BTL.
Awesome.
Thanks for being my guest. All right, guys. Well, there you have it. Let us know. Did you enjoy this episode? If so, I can make you a regularly. I have such trouble with that.
You struggle.
Regularly occurring guest on the show. We should do these questions with somebody else too at some point. Let us know if you know I have relationships with somebody. I could do the same sort of thing with them too, and you could be involved. We could double team them. That sounds really bad. We're gonna leave it at that, guys. Thanks for watching. We're gonna go get dinner.
Yeah, the oven has been beeping for a while. I think.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.